Alright, guys. Cool, I thought there for a second. I'm about to choke on some spit. Let's try it again. Alright, guys. What is going on? This is the Club of Demand 1993. And we are here live for my live review of last night's edition of Monday Night Raw. The October 31st, 2022 edition. Halloween. It took place in Dallas, Texas. Home of WrestleMania 38 this past year. Well, okay, it wasn't at AT&T Stadium, but still in the same city. This, of course, was the go-home show for WWE's Crown Jewel. And I'll say, usually, years ago, I would say Crown Jewel, but this time I'm going to say Crown Jewel. Because, look, obviously, we have a history of, not liking these blood money overseas shows, as we always talk about. This one, it's the first one under Triple H. There's some intrigue, but I still will say, so far, this has been his weakest built pay-per-view so far. And I just think the simple problem is, even though he is fixing some things have really turned around, some things have been great, there have been some swing and misses lately. And I think it's showing that, again, when Triple H is in charge, he does like to give a lot of people opportunities. But right now, obviously, there's still some people that are still damaged. So they need to be fixed before getting these bigger opportunities that some of the people are getting. There's some things, I think, expectations that people are setting a little bit higher for. That it's just like, we're not there yet. As we said a few months ago, back in July, when Triple H first took over creative, it's going to take time. And it happens. Things are going to happen. There's going to be things that are going to work that we didn't think would work. There are things that we thought would work that aren't working. And unfortunately, we have a big strikeout coming here with Damage Control. We will talk about them later in the show. But we do have quite a bit to talk about, because this episode of Raw was better than last week's. There was some stuff like, but it was still weird. It was still a very, very weird episode of Raw. Yes, I think we were trying to veer away of like what Vince McMahon would do on like a holiday show like this. There was still some weird things. I'm like, what the hell is this? This is goofy as hell. And then there's some things that are like, this is different. I understand what we're trying to do here. But I gotta see how this goes further, see how this is gonna play out or not. Because I do have some concerns. So it was a weird episode of Raw. Very strange indeed, for sure. But there's a lot to talk about. It's a very talkable episode for Raw. Now, I did have to go back this morning and watch some highlights. I did miss the first half of Raw last night, but I at least watched the highlights of what I missed. I caught up, so I'm going to talk about this. But we are going to talk about it. I would say probably tomorrow, if not Thursday, I'm going to do my Crown Jewel preview and predictions. I'm pretty sure the card is finalized. Because Friday's show is taped for SmackDown because of them traveling to Saudi Arabia. I did read the spoilers. I will still review SmackDown at some point, but I want to get the preview and predictions done before Saturday, of course, definitely. Now, I also will not be able to watch Crown Jewel though till Sunday. So just like Clash of the Castle, no spoilers. Do not send me any spoilers. But I am going to watch Crown Jewel, and I am going to review it. It's the first time on this channel I've reviewed Crown Jewel, I've previewed Crown Jewel, and then I am also going to be watching the whole edition of Crown Jewel. In the past, there's only been one or two matches I've watched from Crown Jewel. But, it's different this time. I'm open to giving it a chance, since Triple H is in charge. And he's not doing these shows to insult my intelligence. But again, there's still some things that are not working. But of course, mostly because, again, he's still dealing with a damaged roster that he's trying to, revive and fix. Some stuff he has fixed, something's still going to take some time. Before we get into the actual show review, I checked the live chat, I do want to briefly talk about something else, some other big news that was revealed yesterday, and definitely offer my thoughts and prayers for sure to a certain couple within the wrestling industry, of course, and that is Carmella and Corey Graves. So Carmella posted this long post on Instagram yesterday, and I do want to address it. She said, "I've gone back and forth with myself about posting this because I'm not looking for any sort of sympathy. But since today is the last day of Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month, I wanted to share my story. Today, I was treated for first, before I go on, Carmella's been off TV for a while. So, this all kind of explains why. Today, I was treated for ectopic pregnancy. I never thought something like this would happen to me, especially after suffering from an early miscarriage in September. Nothing can prepare you for this news after getting a positive pregnancy test. I was cautiously optimistic this time around after the early loss I had already experienced, but was hoping for the best. I spent 12 hours in the ER on Saturday when I started experiencing some sharp pains on my left side. After several tests and ultrasounds, I was given the devastating news that this was, in fact, an abnormal pregnancy. The reason I'm sharing all of this is because in the moment it feels so isolating. Why doesn't everyone ever talk about this? My husband and I watched some new comedy special last week, and she spoke openly about her miscarriage. I immediately burst into tears. She went on to explain that we should be speaking more openly about this topic so we as women don't blame ourselves and think there's something wrong with us. I want to do the same. I'm part of this statistic and it's happening to me. Again, I'm not looking for sympathy. I know I'll eventually recover from all this mentally, physically, and emotionally. For anyone dealing with any type of pregnancy loss, I want you to know your feelings and emotions are valid. There is nothing wrong with you and you are not alone." First off, much respect to, of course, Carmella for setting an example for sure. But this is, that's sad. That is very sad. Within 2 months, you basically had 2 failed pregnancies, 2 miscarriages. That's got to be very discouraging. Like, so discouraging the fact that a married couple, wants to definitely start a life, a family together. And then not only does it not go well once, but doesn't go well a second time. And also literally put her life in danger. She was in the ER for 12 hours on Saturday. That is scary. That is very, very scary. I cannot even imagine. Because, I've heard, stories about people who deal with, infertility. Some people have, PCOS. Or other problems, that could prevent you from being able to have a baby. And from someone like me, who's going to be getting married next July, and at some point I would love to have children, I'd be devastated if that ever happened to me and my fiance. Well, my future wife. Of course, I would not leave somebody, of course, for, if they had those issues. We would have to go an alternative route to have children, which is what Corey Graves and Carmella may have to. Some people have said that I think that the reason why she stole this because Carmella is, she's super thin. Her body does not be able to handle the pregnancy, which is, again, very sad for sure. I would not want that to happen to anybody, but that just might be the case that would happen. But yeah, definitely thoughts and prayers for sure. And again, I'm pretty sure Carmella is not completely 100%, mentally stable from this. I'm pretty sure, again, she's dealing with some emotions. But post that, set example of don't quit and give up on yourself because of this. I much respect for her for sharing that. much respect for her for trying to show an example. Because I'm pretty sure there's some people who literally have like go through very bad mental breakdowns from this. That is just very sad. But also, I want to mention something else also. I thought was very, very ridiculous. Someone posted, so again, I follow, just Alex on YouTube, and I also follow him on Twitter. He posted, a retweet about this, addressing, the issue as well. Somebody replied and mentioned how Corey Graves took that bad karma from cheating on his ex-wife and spunked it up into Carmella. Let me make something clear here, first off. Yes, Carmella's on-screen character is not the best. I'm going to be honest, it's not been the best. I'm sorry, it has not been, unfortunately. It's not the most standout thing to me. Corey Graves, I will not lie, at times it's kind of turned to a little bit of like a corporate suck-up. He hasn't quite given me the best vibes either, in my opinion. Which, first off, I also must say, how the hell was he at Raw last night? How the hell, after everything him and his wife have dealt with over the weekend, was he able to be at Raw last night? Dang. But yes, we all know what happened a few years back whenever Corey Graves and Carmella got together. Graves did cheat on his wife and whatnot, and all that jazz happened. Wasn't it around Elimination Chamber 2019, I think it was? 2019, I think it was when it happened. But they both got a ton of heat for it. That is completely unnecessary to bring up in a situation like this. This is not about just them. This is about, well, okay, it is about them too, but, that's, again, personal lives, as long as it's not inflicting in the business, should not be, be exposed like that. Well, not should be exposed, but it should not be, called back to that. That was just completely BS. That's completely inappropriate. But yeah, I'm glad that Carmella, is recovering. But again, I'm very sad to, feel for her after, what she dealt with. 2 pregnancies within just a couple, 2 miscarriages within a couple months. Again, that's horrible. And of course, what all she dealt with, man, it's like, I feel horrible for her. So I do, of course, again, want to offer my thoughts and prayers to both her and Corey Graves. Hoping Carmella does recover. And I do hope some way they do find a way to be able to become parents. So I did want to address that, but you're definitely being very unreasonable, though, if you want to flat out just like talk about, how they first got together and whatnot, and like say this is karma and whatnot. Like that's complete BS and completely unnecessary to say. Sorry, I don't care who you are. You don't deserve to have that comment made to you. I hope Corey Graves blocked that person and Carmella too, because that was definitely very, very unnecessary. But we do have a lot still to talk about. I got about an hour, so let's roll in and let's check the live chat first. I haven't done that yet. We got Tyler in the live chat. He gave the show a B-. He wants the women's tag titles taken away and the world and tag titles to be split. And for me to call Crown Jewel Crown Shit instead of Crown Jewel. And come back Charlotte and Becky. His usual campaigns. And we got JR also. I hope we get Seth Rollins versus Mustafa Ali at Crown Jewel for the United States Championship. Hasn't been announced yet, but I am again surprised they haven't had that match set yet for Crown Jewel. I am surprised for sure. But if not, we'll get it sometime soon. But I've really enjoyed the build for that so far. Although Seth Rollins is booked in a very weird situation on this episode also. What do you think the WWE draft will happen? I think they're waiting until after WrestleMania. Which is where I think that's when they will split the world and tag titles once again. Do you think Bray Wyatt will get involved in any match at Crown Jewel since he was announced to be on the show? I don't think he'll get involved in a match. He shouldn't, I don't think, yet. But I feel like, another personality or so, or something big will happen, I feel. Still gotta think on that one. But, maybe. My predictions for Crown Jewel hopefully be either tomorrow or Thursday. I'd rather have Miz versus Roman for the Undisputed Universal title than I would have Logan Paul versus Roman Reigns. Logan Paul versus Roman Reigns shouldn't even happen to begin with. I'm sorry, it shouldn't. I still think this match is going to be so dumb. Braun should squash Omos. Yes, I'm hoping for that as well. Did you hear the rumor at this recent live event Sasha Banks was backstage showing with Bayley? I did hear that. They should have made Halloween Havoc a main roster pay-per-view. They could maybe next year since they're taking away like Hell in a Cell. They might even remove the Money in the Bank pay-per-view and just put the matches back at WrestleMania. So they could, you never know. What's up, Mark? Thanks for joining us. If Logan Paul wins the title, it will be like where David Arquette winning the WCW title in 2000. Yeah. Oh, God. If Logan Paul wins on Saturday, oh, goodness, that's going to be so insane. Again, though, reminder, I will not be watching until Sunday. Do not tweet me any spoilers. And Mark says, congrats to the new women's tag team champions. Congrats, definitely, but we will have stuff to talk about. Since Forbidden Door has been open for WWE, do you think we'll see Kenny Omega versus Roman Reigns? I don't know, but we could. But I would love to see that match. Kenny Omega versus Roman Reigns. Oh, goodness. That'd be great. Because I did hear that Nakamura is given permission to wrestle at some event or something I've heard recently. But anyways, very lively live chat. Thank you guys as always for joining, but we got to get rolling. We're like 18 minutes into the stream. I haven't started talking about one thing about Raw yet. But the stuff with Corey Graves and Carmella was necessary to address. Oh, shoot. I accidentally exited out of my notes. Where is it? I gotta get the hell on here, guys. I'm sorry. That's my fault. Google. Raw results. Cage side. You should just have my notes to pull up so I can talk about the show and and the reminders of what people said in the promos, but all that jazz. Okay. Let's roll on though and talk about Raw. And again, Raw took place in Dallas, Texas, and it was a go-home show for WWE's Crown Jewel. Anyways, so we actually opened up with a non-title match between Bianca Belair and Nikki Cross. That's right. She's no longer Nikki A.S.H. She's back to being Nikki Cross. And based off this match, which was good, she is definitely looking to be Psycho Nikki again. And I love it. Of course, who's she really going after is still confusing me for sure. Because, she's still a heel, it seems. She fought Bianca, but she was also fighting off Damage Control when they came out and interfered in the match. But, again, even though Bianca won, it was still a match to kind of somewhat reestablish Nikki's character. She's not a big, dominating group. She was okay to take a loss here. It was more so of a reestablishing match for her. But I love it. I'm very happy to see we got that stupid superhero. I'm sorry, almost a superhero gimmick off of her, because that was stupid. If we're fixing her and her name, can we please fix Dewdrop to being Piper Niven again? Please? Hope that's why she's been off TV also lately. That's what I'm hoping. But anyway, so Bianca wins with a KOD after some interference from Damage Control. Afterwards, though, Damage Control does a 3-on-1 beatdown on Bayley. And then Alexa Bliss and Asuka make their return and make the save and stand tall. And then it's announced that later in the show, we are going to get a tag title match for the women's tag titles with Alexa and Asuka versus Damage Controls Dakota Kai and Io Sky. We will talk about that quite in depth when we do get there later on in the show. We are then told that we're going to get an interview, I got a split screen interview with Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar to hype up for their Crown Jewel match on Saturday. I'm sorry, not Bobby Lashley, Bobby Lashley. I love the way Brock is going, Bobby. It sounds like a cool dude saying like Bobby. Bobby. What's up, Bobby? Bobby Lashley. Anyways. So Bobby Lashley appears on the screen. And then on the side where Brock's supposed to be sitting, his chair is empty. Lashley says he's going to expose Brock once again at Crown Jewel. And expose him for what he really is. He mentions how, this match should have taken place a long time ago. And that, if it would have taken place a long time ago, Bobby would have been the superior one. So he calls Brock Lesnar a Bobby Lashley wannabe. And then, though, Brock's music hits. So Brock didn't want a sit-down interview. He comes out and he does tip his cowboy hat to the audience. So I'm guessing this is a face-on-face feud. That's what I'm guessing. I don't think there's really a true heel in this, even though Lesnar did attack Lashley pretty viciously a couple weeks ago. But I guess it's face-on-face because Brock was, acknowledging the crowd and, not trashing on them. He greets them and says he didn't come here to have a sit-down interview. When Brock Lesnar visits the good old folks of Texas, he wants to do what they normally do and fight. So he calls out Lashley, and then Lashley, leaves the room and makes his entrance. But of course, as he's making his way out, the rest of the locker room just immediately come out, and we got a little bit of brawling going on, but then they got a bunch of people pulling them away. But then, what's even crazier, to make this feel like even more of a big deal, Triple H comes out. And of course, he didn't have a microphone on, but he starts shouting over the chaos, and he even told Brock to stop, but Brock ignored him, and he started fighting. But they were able to restore control and get Lashley to push him back into the corner. But then Triple H, we heard him say, if they put another finger on each other, then the match is off at Crown Jewel. Which I do like. Although we never saw them again for the rest of the night, but that big fight feel for it is here. Although the build still feels like, to me, it feels like it's not the only match they're going to have. I'm still, and I'll probably share this in my preview predictions for the show, I still, honestly, God, think Saturday could end in an inconclusive decision. I'm thinking a draw. We could see a draw to set up for an even bigger match. Continue the feud, build up more with something bigger for Survivor Series. It would be, even if you made it, No Holds Barred, or Hell in a Cell, for crying out loud, oh boy, would this be great. We're getting the match that we should have gotten back at Royal Rumble, but again, the match at Royal Rumble this year was treated as, a transitional storytelling match, and just was used to, further Roman versus Brock. I thought the execution in that match was stupid, but the stuff between Brock and Bobby was great. Bobby who? Exactly. Well, that was funny, but now we've got Bobby Lashley. Anyways. But yeah, so this is still I don't think this feud is going to be over after Crown Jewel, but we'll address it again in my Crown Jewel predictions, which again will be either tomorrow or Thursday. Then we had a match between Seth Rollins and Austin Theory. First off, Seth Rollins brought back his blonde strips again in his hair. I was a little confused as to why we were getting this match, though. Because last week, Seth Rollins praised Austin Theory whenever he helped take out Mustafa Ali in his match. So I don't know. I mean, it was a non-title match, too. So I don't know if this was just, Theory getting rewarded. Because it was also weird, too, was Seth Rollins was playing a babyface in this match. And Theory was the heel. He was saying something throughout the match like he is the king of cash-ins and Rollins isn't or something. It was strange why the match happened. Outside of that, though, credit where credit's due, it was a really good match. I feel like Austin Theory kind of like turned it up a little bit. Like, I would say before this, his best matches he had were definitely the 2 matches he had with Kevin Owens on Raw in recent months. This one, I would say, may have been his best match. It was really good. I was seeing some maneuvers that I haven't seen from him for a long time, or ever, in general. But again, why this match happened, I'm not sure why. Seth still won. Still a great match. No further tease, though, on him and Mustafa Ali. I guess from when I got here, because Ali did have a match later in the show, I'm guessing they're calling the loss he had to Theory last week as like a setback of him getting back to the U.S. title. And what they did tonight was a way to kind of get him back on track for a shot. We'll see. I'm thinking we're probably not going to see this match happen at a pay-per-view. It'll probably happen like on Raw or something. But they're building up to it very nicely, though. But very good match there. We then, of course, are informed that Bray Wyatt will indeed be at Crown Jewel on Saturday. Again, what he's going to do, I don't know. I feel like he's going to reintroduce another like personality of his, or what he's going to introduce. Or if like somebody else is going to appear, maybe a return of Bo Dallas. I'll think about that one more and talk about that in my Crown Jewel predictions for sure. But then, of course, we do have Roman Reigns come out, who was advertised. And, of course, Dallas was mentioning Usi, chanting Usi in the crowd because of how over that got on Saturday. Oh, man. Well, I'm sorry, on Friday. And then with, Sami Zayn saying Jay's not been very Usi. And it led to both Jay and Roman just breaking character. Could not keep a straight face. I don't know what's funnier, that or the look on Sammy's face and how they just zoomed in on his super 5-year-old happiness face when Roman said he was going to make Sammy a full-blown Uso, and they're going to call him Sammy Uso. Oh my gosh, it was, oh goodness. Anyways, though, he acknowledged Dallas and said, don't worry, he's got Sammy and Jay working it out in the world on becoming a little more Usi. And you should see a new Usi or Jay Uso when they get back from Saudi Arabia. But now he wants to get a little more serious. Enough about the Usi stuff. For over 2 years, he's been hyping up opportunities, and the only thing that happens is they get smashed. He's got to be honest that he's the greatest of all time. And he's fighting a guy who's had 2 matches. I feel the same, Roman. He's not going to hype this matchup. But the wise man will. And then, of course, he hands him back the microphone. And, of course, he didn't say it, but I always like the way he goes, wise man. Wise man. I don't know why, I just like the way he says it. So the wise man, Paul Heyman, takes the mic, introduces himself, and he lays out the whole one lucky punch theory about how Logan Paul's been training with Shawn Michaels, and apparently he's got like pins in his fists and whatnot. And then, of course, Roman's like, I'm James Shawn Michaels. Like, he was like mocking the whole idea of it. But says that in the end, he's just going to get smashed by the tribal chief. Then, though, out came The Miz. I'm like, okay. He basically wants to, scratch Roman's back as long as Roman will scratch his. He's saying his help is that he he thinks he can help Roman because he's dealt with Logan Paul before. And he taught him everything he knows. But one thing he couldn't teach Logan Paul, though, was his right hand that everybody's talking about. It's real. He has pins in his hand that gives him knockout power. Just ask Jey Uso. And he also says he wishes he could help and says he has to deal with Dexter Lumis. But he thinks they can help each other. Roman helps with Lumis, and Miz will help him neutralize Logan Paul because he knows all of his weaknesses. You know, Roman's like, okay, fair enough. I like this guy. But I just gotta ask you one thing, though. Why does everybody keep talking about Logan Paul knocking him out? And then Roman immediately then knocks Miz out with a Superman punch. And it continues and says, because they should be talking about him knocking Logan Paul out, you see. And then you're not going to have any choice but to acknowledge me. So he's saying, again, he's like, enough, like saying that, some two-match wannabe is gonna beat him. Which, again, I feel the same exact way. Like, why is this even a match? Like, yes, he's had 2 matches. A tag match and a singles match. The singles match may have indeed stolen the show at SummerSlam. But Logan Paul is not even close to being seriously considered to be world champion. Like, I'll say this, and this is completely insane. I would much rather have The Fiend lose to Goldberg again than have Logan Paul beat Roman Reigns. If Logan Paul beats Roman Reigns on Saturday, I'm going to start to doubt if Triple H has lost his mind. Because it's just totally stupid that they're relying so much on this guy when he literally does nothing but draw heat. People don't like Logan Paul. They chant, "You suck" at him. They don't want to see him beat Roman. Is there anybody out there who wants to see Logan Paul beat Roman? Anybody? Good God. But, yes, so Miz gets knocked out, and he hurts his jaw, which he's always somebody intriguing to, see his jaw get hurt. Then, of course, we have him being interviewed backstage, and Miz, the interviewer asks Miz, just to make sure he knows that Johnny Gargano sat down with Byron Saxton for a tell-all that will air later on in the show called WWE Investigates. Miz says he's not worried about that so much as he is about getting his match against Mustafa Ali canceled. And as for Johnny, a story shouldn't be aired until it's confirmed by multiple sources. And if WWE airs it, he'll sue for defamation. Mustafa then rolls up and says he's disappointed because he was looking forward to their match tonight before dredging the tiny balls thing, and the Miz says he's going to beat him with a broken jaw, and Ali says he's looking forward to it. Can we please stop the whole tiny balls shit with the Miz? Seriously. It's old. It's over with. I'm done with it. We will talk about, though, this WWE Investigates with Johnny Gargano, though, later on in the show. That was strange. We then have a match with Damian Priest and Carl Anderson just to hype up their 6-man tag match on Saturday. Carl Anderson won by a pinfall backslide. Afterwards, though, both factions hit the ring, and then, of course, everything changes once Rhea Ripley gets involved again, low-blowing Luke Gallows. And then, of course, she even demands AJ Styles and Carl Anderson to fight her all by herself. But then Finn and Damian attack from behind. And they stand tall as the Dominant puts the exclamation point by doing a frog splash on AJ Styles. I'm guessing because last week they had a segment where AJ mentions they need somebody to take out Rhea. I'm guessing we'll get that reveal on Saturday. I don't know who it could be. I don't know, again, if it'll be Beth Phoenix returning to get her revenge on Rhea for what they did to her at Extreme Rules, or if it could be like somebody from NXT maybe, or a returning star. I'm not sure yet, but I think we'll get that reveal on Saturday. Again, who will be, I don't know. Something else to think about before I do my Crown Jewel predictions. Then we have MVP hyping up Omos versus Strowman at Crown Jewel on Saturday. And he apparently has a surprise for Strowman on Friday on SmackDown. And I don't care. We then have also JBL coming out, hyping up Texas, and then says, and all these other millennials and Gen Zs ruined it by inventing Halloween, and just hits every single old man yells at Cloud promo, and how no one needs to hear again before he introduced Baron Corbin. Corbin came out. See, here's another problem I had with this show. Some people just... The idea of having costumes. It worked for some people. Like, some people will be like, okay, you know, this was interesting. But there's some stuff that's just ugly, too far. Baron Corbin basically came out in a onesie. It looked like a pair of onesie pajamas that he came out in. It was... Okay, it was not as weird as the outfit he had 2 weeks ago. That outfit looked strange as hell. Like, was that pants or was that leg? Last week's was good. This week's, again, looked like a freaking costume. But he came out, and he says, we're welcome, and it must make our night to be in the presence of a modern-day wrestling god. And he basically says he has it all, and we have very little truth or something. Which then brings out R-Truth in a cowboy costume, riding a tiny stuffed horse. JBL also asks why he's here, and R-Truth says he's going to wish everybody a happy Halloween. And he really likes their costumes. And then JBL's like, he's saying costumes. But Truth's like, nah, I ain't buying it. You're dressed up like a mean, hostile, steaming, angry man. Out of touch, old man. Referring to Vince on that. And Corbin, he was about to diss on his caution, but then Corbin attacks Truth. But then Truth was getting the upper hand at first, but then JBL throws his hat at him, and then Corbin hits the end of days. That just... Whatever. I'm still, trying to, see if this thing with JBL and Corbin's really working. I don't know. Like, it just feels like, again, especially with the microphone skills, JBL is just so much better on the mic. And yeah, I don't know if this is, making JBL look good or this is making Corbin look good, though. So, I don't know, but he's got to get a much better outfit consistently. Again, because, the one we got 2 weeks ago, horrible. The one this week was freaking pajamas and a onesie. Let's go back to the Lone Wolf. Just make him the Lone Wolf again. That's when he was at his best. And grow his hair back too, but... We also have a segment with Damage Control hanging out with Nikki Cross, and she wanders off. Again, I still don't know who Nikki Cross is actually with. Or what. Anyways. Then we are getting ready for this next match. The Trick or Treat Street Fight. The first one, of course, under Triple H. Let me first off by start saying that this was still awkward as hell. And not the cleanest thing in the world. As far as wrestling-wise. Matt Riddle's music plays. We see him come out, then he runs backstage again. And I'm thinking, wait, what was he wearing? Matt Riddle came back out. And I swear to God, I do not remember him wearing this. But apparently, Matt Riddle was supposed to be dressed up like Ezekiel. To me, Ezekiel... Here's the thing. I've seen some people, like when Madcap Moss was still with Baron Corbin, well, formerly known as Happy Corbin! Fuck that. He was wearing this horrible, tight-ass suspenders type outfit that literally, it was so awkward on him. This outfit that Matt Riddle was wearing, claiming to be Ezekiel, doesn't even ring a bell to me. I don't know if it was just a lame, but it looked like he had no pants on. Like he had barely any pants on. I thought first he was Captain Underpants. I literally thought Matt Riddle came out dressed as Captain Underpants. It just looked so awkward. But then we had Alpha Academy come out. Well, Riddle went back because he was trying to pull Elias, who is hesitant about him, getting about being a tag team out of season 4 an Elias heel turn, but an Elias and Matt Riddle feud is not really, knocking my socks off right now. Of course, Corey Graves said during the match that Matt Riddle's cheating on Randy Orton was his bromance. Now he has a bromance with Elias and, whatever. But anyways, his match was against Otis. Before the match starts, Chad Gable comes down. And he's dressed up, and I thought at first he was being dressed up as Einstein. But he does his usual, shush, please, thank you. And he says he could have dressed up as Socrates, but these Dallas dimwits wouldn't get the joke. So luckily for us, Halloween's his favorite, and he dressed up like a personal hero, Patrick Swayze, as the legendary dancer Chip. So he introduces Otis as Dale. And then they do a Chip and Dale routine coming down the ramp. Oh god, it made me. I thought it was funny. That was funny. It made me think of. It wasn't too much, but it also seeing Otis dance. Just again, lately they've been showing some a little more personality with Otis. So part of me kind of first wanted two things. First off, I think Alpha Academy needs to go babyface because they're taking a lot of L's. But they're so freaking entertaining and it's so over. But the second thing too is, I wonder if Triple H would consider bringing back Tucker Knight. And, if you want to keep Chad Gable with him, fine. But have Heavy Machinery reunite. My gosh, they even split them up for no goddamn reason. They could have still made it work. And if you want to make them babyface again, have them turn face and bring back Tucker Knight. I think that would be great, but the Trick or Treat street fight happens, and I saw this match, and I'm still questioning again, why is Matt Riddle involved with this? I don't get why we're kind of gone backwards with Matt Riddle recently, and have made him goofy Matt Riddle again, instead of serious Matt Riddle, like we got in the build for the match at Clash of the Castle. The same Matt Riddle that F-bombed on TV 5 times with that split interview segment thing with him and Seth Rollins. Why have we gone backwards since? This made me think we're right back to where we were before with Matt Riddle. And the match was just goofy as hell. I know Chad got sent through a table, and then off a distraction, Elias then puts a pumpkin on top of Otis's head. And then Matt Riddle hits a horrible looking RKO on Otis, and that's just the RKO. The pumpkin just came full, I fell right off of Otis's head. So the pumpkin was kind of pointless, but it was weird as hell. Riddle won with the RKO. Then we have a setting backstage where Dakota Kai is worried about their match tonight. And then Bayley gives them a pep talk for the for the women's tag titles. We didn't have Miz versus Mustafa Ali. Again, of course, the Miz is, trying to prevent Ali from hitting him in the jaw and whatnot, because it's the moneymaker, I do like that when Miz has this story where he does not want to be hit in the face for any reason. He plays that off really good. And especially again for Mustafa Ali, who's a good, again, they're bringing back, I'm feeling like I'm seeing the same Mustafa Ali we got when he first went over to SmackDown in 2019, and when he was on 205 Live. He feels like that cruiserweight Shawn Michaels again. The way he sells, the way he tells the stories, the way he, takes the craziest bumps in the world, yet he fights back from them. Again, like I always refer to, what always stands out about Ali is that when he was interviewed on the Talk Is Jericho podcast in 2019, shortly after he started getting his SmackDown push, he mentioned how one thing Vince liked about him is that he is good at giving empathy. So I was intrigued to see that they're kind of booking him like that again. It was that way in this match. And then, towards the end of the match, though, Dexter Lumis appeared, and he tried to pull off The Miz again. And then, of course, the security guards run him off, which then leads off distraction. Ollie's able to take out The Miz with like a super kick to his, damaged jaw. And he's able to hit a 450 splash and get the victory. Not a bad match at all. Alright, we got two things left to talk about, and it's two of the goofiest things for sure. Well, this thing here might work. This is one of those things where it's like, this was completely goofy. This felt very winged. But it could work, but I gotta also see it in the long run, because I do have some concerns if they're going this direction. So, we have this WWE investigation. It's like the way they hyped it up and the sound effects, it reminded a lot of people of 60 Minutes. But anyways, the host of it is Byron Saxton, having a sit-down interview with Johnny Gargano, who says he's going to tell, what's going on really with The Miz and Dexter Lumis. So Johnny mentions how he's known Dexter for quite a while. He's had his quirks, but he's just a guy trying to make a living, and he learned to accept him like a son-in-law or a pet raccoon, referring to the storyline in NXT with The Way and how Indy Hartwell fell in love with Dexter Lumis and they got married, and that I heard that again, and I'm like cringing. I'm like, I didn't like that. I did not like The Way. I did not like Johnny Gargano as a heel. I didn't like his heel run. But anyways, so after the wedding, their family fell apart because Lumis lost his job and fell on hard times. Referring to as a release, okay? It took a toll on him, but The Miz took advantage. Now, Johnny is not able to be 100% certain, but the night that Johnny had his surprise return in Toronto, he overheard the two of them talking. So Johnny recorded it on his phone, and he plays it back, and it sounds like The Miz was arranging for Dexter Lumis to attack him in return for money. Johnny then states that The Miz did it because he thinks he's a celebrity and he wanted attention. So he wanted a fake stalker and exploited Dexter Lumis about it. And somewhere along the way, he stopped paying Lumis, and that's why it's real now. And of course, Byron was asking him, why would he do this? Because he's The Miz. That's all Johnny was saying. Because he's The Miz. Which is what made me feel like this was very winged and very last minute thought of. So, the impression I'm getting from this, they're trying to tell a story similar to, I can't say Hush Money, but it feels like, a whole Hush Money type thing. But except, The Miz is just offering Dexter Lumis a job to attack him, to stalk him, just for The Miz's own benefit. But it's kind of like this thing where it's like, The Miz was paying Lumis, but then after a while, he stopped paying him. Kind of like, anybody watch, Law and Order or whatnot, and hear how, when a crime is committed, and then the person who committed the crime, pays them in hush money to keep them quiet. And then eventually, when they think they can't get in trouble anymore about it, they stop, paying them. I think they're going like that, except that it would be dumb to call it hush money because Lumis is just doing his job, but Miz decided just to, stop paying Lumis because he, didn't want to anymore or whatnot. This whole thing that was saying, he's The Miz, sounds very, forced and winged. But here's the thing. First off, I'm glad we finally got an explanation. This could work. But I got my concern because, again, Dexter Lumis is somebody that I think the reason why he suffered, because he was built as a star when there was no audience. So he really had no true reaction to him. Being a mute, being a stalker, but we never understood why he was stalking, the people he was stalking. So if you do this storyline where he was being paid by The Miz, because I could believe it. The Miz, needs a reason to get the spotlight back on him again, and nothing else is working, so why not pay some, creepy guy who literally has no job money to literally make it look like that he's hurting him. I get that. That works for The Miz. But it's Dexter Lumis I'm concerned here for. Because I'm pretty sure Dexter Lumis' stalking gimmick is going to remain permanent for him. Will remain long term. What other excuse, though, could you use for Dexter Lumis trying to stalk somebody, though? If he's being paid to do it here. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things where it's like, okay, this works. This could work for this, but longer term, how could this character continue outside of this? Because again, there's some things that happen. Like, okay, this works between these two, but can it work outside of this? That's the concern I have. So we'll see where this goes. I know some people say it could be a storyline that they'll use for whenever Tommaso Ciampa comes back, because Ciampa actually just recently had back surgery. So they could kind of use it as a reason to help reunite Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, maybe, and reunite DIY, maybe. I don't know. That could be what they do with it, but we'll see where it goes. It just got very goofy, and like I said, it got a little one-dimensional. Because like I said, how can this character now work outside of The Miz? So, we'll see what happens there. And then the last thing to talk about is this main event. This tag title match between Damage Control's Dakota Kai and Io Sky taking on the returning Alexa Bliss and Asuka. The match itself wasn't too bad. But it's the finish, the execution, and the follow-up that I'm wondering. First off, there was a moment in the match where Asuka... Well, first off, before I get there, but I guess there was a moment towards the beginning of the match where Alexa got like a little extra aggressive. And I'm hearing reports saying that was actually real aggression, because I think she didn't like how Io got like stiff with her or something. I don't know. But anyways, later in the match, there was a moment where Asuka had Io Sky in the Asuka lock. And Bayley was trying to cause a distraction. And while the referee was distracted, Io was tapping out. So then it led to a brawl between Bianca and Bayley, and I'm thinking, oh, this might be the reason what they'll do to have Damage Control retain the tag titles over Alexa and Asuka. But part of me had that bad feeling in me. So Bayley and Bianca then brawled, and then off the top of like a road case, Bayley hit a Bayley to belly on Bianca through a table, which took the both of them out of the equation. But then, though, they were able to get Dakota Kai out of the way. Asuka had a stiff roundhouse kick on Io, basically knocked her out, and then she tagged in Alexa, and I'm looking at my phone, I'm like, this is 10:58, and we're about to see the Twisted Bliss. Like, is somebody else coming out here? Twisted Bliss, nobody else came out. 1, 2, 3. Damage Control lose the tag titles just days before Bayley's getting a second shot for the Raw Women's Championship. Asuka and Alexa are now your new tag team champions. But why, though? And now the big question I'm asking is, why is Damage Control even a thing? At this point, what's the point of Bayley even winning the match on Saturday? Like, you brought in Damage Control. You immediately, hyped them up as this dangerous unit that's coming to town. And even the first few weeks, the way they did, the backstage brawls and everything, you built them like a female version of the Undisputed Era. So good that even before they announced Survivor Series was going to be War Games, I was campaigning, pledging for War Games. Because this Damage Control stable gave me War Games vibes. But then what happened? Again, they didn't win the tag title tournament. Which again, I'll forgive that one because they did have the story where Aaliyah pinned the wrong opponent. Pinned the not legal. Aaliyah pinned, I think it was Dakota Kai, but she was not legal at the time. And of course, they gave them the tag titles. But then they've lost singles matches. And then worse, Bayley lost at Extreme Rules. So it's like, okay, you're kind of losing a little too much here. And now that they've dropped the tag title, well, first off, you had that match with Bianca and Bayley last week, non-title. Nikki Cross interferes, and besides the fact that she reintroduces Psycho Crazy Nikki, which is cool, I still don't know why she's interfering in this business here between Bianca and Bayley. And Bayley won, but again, they've not made Bayley look strong at all. Like, right now, if you would ask me, I would not say I could see Bayley being Bianca. I can't. I cannot see it. But now it's like Damage Control just lost the women's tag titles. What's the point now of Bayley winning the Raw women's title? Like, what is the complete point of Damage Control? Because now I cannot see Damage Control being a huge threat for War Games. I'm not feeling War Games anymore for them because they've done nothing but lose. They feel conquered. They don't feel like a threat. Like, it's one thing if they would have brought back, like, let's say, okay, they wrote off Alexa and Asuka. What if they would have brought back, like, Sasha and Naomi instead? If they are coming back. If they came back and they would have dethroned them for the women's tag house, that's a totally different story here. These are two people that really have no business beating Damage Control. It makes no sense. Because they've been Damage Control's been the thorn in their side. Now that they've beaten Damage Control, it's like, what else is there to prove? Bayley's lost to Bianca. Damage Control's lost to Alexa and Asuka. It's like, if it was a new challenger, okay, but now it's like, you can't play 50-50 hot potato booking, because now at this point, it's not going to make anybody look any better. Like, at this point, you might as well go a complete different direction, like Damage Control. Like what if they had this thing where they formed Damage Control, but, I mean, I was going to say even maybe to make Dakota Kai a big baby face or something, but it's not going to make it now because she doesn't look strong. She does not look strong at all. Damage Control feels like damaged goods. Because they've not been booked well at all. Like, this is a big L for Triple H. Like, I'm sorry, this is something that's not working. It was at first, but then you were giving them losses. And now you've hurt their credibility. Now they no longer have the women's tag titles. Bayley doesn't have the Raw women's title. Why? Because they want to do Bianca and Charlotte at WrestleMania next year? Hello, the Vince McMahon's era is over. You don't need to be doing that match. Right now, the fresh group, the fresh villains, the fresh team that's here to terrorize Raw is Damage Control. Bayley should be having that belt. Dakota and Io should be still having those pointless, but should still be having those women's tag titles as a sign of freaking dominance. And now they feel like nobodies. They don't feel special. They don't feel unique. They don't feel like that female Undisputed Era they were when they first debuted at SummerSlam. They don't. So I don't know what's going to happen. Quite frankly, I've lost all interest in this last woman standing match on Saturday. I have, because again, what's the point? What is the point? Even if Bayley wins, she'll still look weak. She looks weak right now. I cannot take Bayley serious as a person who can beat Bianca right now. I'm sorry, I can't. I really can't. And that's a shame, because there was so much potential for this team. And now they're just nobodies again. They're nobodies. And I don't get why. So, we'll see what happens on Saturday. But I gotta go in a couple minutes, guys. That's my thoughts on Raw for this week. I gave the show a C+. Because there were some things I enjoyed, but some things were just strange. It was a very strange episode of Raw, if you want to put it that way. But I'm checking out. I'm going to try to get a few more things completed throughout the week, of course. We'll keep going. Definitely, though, tomorrow or Thursday, I will do my Crown Jewel preview predictions. Again, please do not spoil do not spoil anything for Crown Jewel for me, because I won't be watching it till Sunday. But oh yeah, I have a couple of minutes. Let me check the live chat real quick before we get off. I have a couple minutes. I think we're right here, because we just talked about, last it was Roman and Kenny. JR says, I heard rumors that Tegan Nox is coming back. Do you think she should come back at Crown Jewel? Actually, what if, because they have a history from the Mae Young Classic, what if Tegan Nox comes back and she's the one to kind of be like the one who stops Rhea Ripley from being involved with the OC in the match of the OC and Judgment Day? I like that idea. Yeah, she should. I just saw some posts on Instagram. She apparently has a new girlfriend now. But yeah, I'd like to see her come back. I thought maybe her, because I also heard rumors that Chelsea Green may be coming back, but Chelsea Green should be a heel, I think. But yeah, Tegan Nox, she has the history with Rhea Ripley from the Mae Young Classic. I definitely would dig that. Tyler would rather have Asuka as Raw Women's Champion, Charlotte as SmackDown Women's Champion. We all know that. Triple H save us WWE again, not like AEW is doing. The only people that want to see him win is his family, friends, and his girlfriend. Is that Logan Paul? And I'm not worried that there's not a chance in hell he's beating Roman Reigns. Definitely not. Thunder was dumpster fire, and Bayley's group is a joke, like everything Bayley been as a heel. It's a shame though, because there is some things that Bayley has done well as a heel, but it's been affected by no audience and just bad booking in general. But yeah. But thank you guys for your thoughts in the live chat, guys. Again, I'm probably gonna do. Of course, we'll watch Dynamite tomorrow. I'm probably going to do the Crown Jewel pre-predictions first, though. Like, if I get to do them, because I am off work tomorrow. So I will be home for the day. So I'll try to do Crown Jewel predictions tomorrow. And then Dynamite. But that's my main priority, is get Crown Jewel done. I may upload some video game stuff tonight, as well throughout the evening. But we'll see where that goes. But that's my review of Raw, guys. Again, thank you for joining me live. Raw was odd, but still some things I liked. I gave it a C+. What are your guys' thoughts on this week's episode of Raw? Make sure to leave your guys' thoughts down in the comments section below. Be sure, as always, to slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content on my channel. Follow me on Twitter as well at DemandAirboy93. And until then, guys, I'm checking out. I will catch you all later. Have a great rest of your Tuesday evening. Peace out, everybody.